Hey everyone, Camille here from 88 Fitness Training. Welcome back. Today we are launching a new video series. It's all about picking the right exercises and the stimulus to fatigue ratio. So this video is for anyone that wants to maximize their hypertrophy gains, build those big muscles, and pick the right exercises. So stay tuned, check it out. All right, so let's dive right into exercise effectiveness and stimulus to fatigue ratio. This was actually a special request from Keenan, one of our subscribers, so thank you, Keenan, for this request. We love covering content for you guys, so keep those requests coming. Before we get too deep into specific exercises, I just want to talk for a minute about what effectiveness is and what stimulus to fatigue ratio is. Effectiveness is going to be how well a stimulus leads to a desired outcome. So in this case, hypertrophy, right? Gaining muscle size. Stimulus is just going to be the positive impact of exercise on muscle strength, size, and adaptation. Fatigue, on the other hand, for the purposes of this video, is usually the wear and tear that occurs on your joints and connective tissues. So to put it simply, the stimulus to fatigue ratio is a way to compare the stimulus gained from a workout to the damage or fatigue that it's causing. So ideally, you want to pick exercises that are pretty balanced in terms of stimulus to fatigue. We want a large amount of stimulus and low fatigue. So I have to caveat this with that everybody is created differently. So while I'm giving you what, general masses might think is pretty good stimulus to fatigue ratio, everyone's different. So you really have to try it and see how your body personally responds. So let's jump into some back exercises. Let's start with what I think is one of the best back development exercises there are, the rack pulls. Yes, y'all, check it out. These are pretty nasty. Like when we're talking overall effectiveness, I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. There is nothing that you can progressively overload more and get back growth than the rack pull. So unlike the deadlift, and you're probably wondering, like, why didn't I start with the deadlift or talk about the deadlift? All right, y'all, so I actually like deadlifts on leg day. But for back day, I like the rack pull. It's basically the upper half of the deadlift, as you can see in the video. So this exercise, you can really load up the weight. You can do a lot more than you can do on your deadlift, which really helps you to progressively overload and hit all of those back muscles. You're gonna feel this from the waist all the way up to like the traps, y'all. So in terms of effectiveness, 5 out of 5. But for SFR, it's only a 2 out of 5. So the stimulus is really, really high, which is good, but at the same time, it is high fatigue. It is going to really, you're gonna feel it. In fact, me and James just did this the other day. It was, I wanna say it was like a Monday, and it is now a Sunday, and I can still feel my lower back a little bit, right? So the amount that you're loading up that spine is so high that it can be quite damaging if you're not careful and you don't use proper form. So just something to keep in mind. But overall effectiveness, 5 out of 5. Not very much else is gonna beat that, y'all. But in terms of SFR, pretty fatiguing, so I give it a 2 out of 5. The next exercise that I'm gonna talk about are pull-ups. This is a really excellent exercise, and it doesn't really matter what level you're at, whether you need to do these assisted or not. The pull-ups are gonna be a really effective exercise for overall back development. So I give it a 4 out of 5, y'all. So not quite as high as the rack pull, but you're getting a lot. It's like lower back, middle, upper traps. You get the rear delts, the lats. It's a fantastic exercise. And then of course you can play with grips, right? Like you can do, shoulder width, super wide to elicit different responses for the back. In terms of overall SFR, I give this a 3 out of 5. It's pretty good. I mean, the fatigue's, moderate, but the stimulus is still pretty high. The only complaint that people may have on this are the elbows, right? Like they might feel it there, or maybe a little in the neck, depending on how they have their head while they're doing the pull-ups. So all in all, this is a must-do exercise. 4 out of 5 in terms of effectiveness, and 3 out of 5 in terms of overall SFR. Next up, we have bent over rows, right? So you can grab this barbell, about shoulder width, hinge at the hip, nice and deep, come up and squeeze, just like this. Now the bent over barbell row is a fantastic back exercise, back developer. I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, you're hitting lats, traps, rhomboids. I mean, you name it. It's just overall great exercise for back development. In terms of SFR, it's also pretty good. I give it a 3 out of 5. So definitely work this in. It's, moderate fatigue, pretty high stimulus. So if you're looking to grow your back, get those wings, you definitely need to do barbell bent over rows. If you guessed the next exercise would be a lat pull down, you were right. So in terms of lat pull downs, I give this a 4 out of 5 in terms of effectiveness. It is really good at building overall back mass. I mean, you're working your lats, your delts, your rhomboids, your traps, like you're working everything when you're doing a lat pull down, really. And you can elicit different things, different bars, different grips. So really great exercise. Let me go ahead and do a couple. I really like working 2 handles. This is probably my favorite grip variation, or handle a variation rather. You really want to focus on the mind muscle, retracting that scapula down and then pulling just like this. All right, so 4 out of 5 in terms of overall effectiveness. Now SFR, I actually give this a 5 out of 5, y'all. So most people, when they're doing a lat pull down, they're not going to complain about any wear and tear on their joints or connective tissues, right? You can progressively overload as much as you can. I've even seen people get close to the end of the stack and do these, and they're still not walking away talking about they have elbow pain or, some other kind of pain going on. So really great exercise, 5 out of 5 in terms of SFR. Well, there you have it. That is our effectiveness in SFR video for back development. And just remember that caveat in the beginning, right, y'all? Everyone is different. So what I might feel is really effective and moderate, SFR, you might feel different. So you really got to get in there, experiment, record it in your logbook, right? How you feel after doing those exercises after a couple days. Ideally, what you want is you want to be able to hit that exercise and then train the next muscle group the next day or the day later, right? So if your exercises are beating you up, where you're sidelined for 4 or 5 days, you don't want that, right? Even though it's really effective, that crazy SFR is just not worth it at the end of the day. So go ahead, get in the gym, hit those exercises. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely check out the other videos in the series. And all right, y'all, Camille, 88 Fitness Training. Like and subscribe.